We're live. We haven't done this in a while. Guys, I'm Robbie Craig of the Flip Flop Flipper. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm here with my good friend, Chris Rivera. We're going to talk about masterminds. We're just going to have an open discussion here. We'll try and answer any questions you've got inside of the chat. It's been a while since we've done one of these YouTube lives. We are in our new studio. We've been shooting some content here for the last few months, but Adon had a baby. And so
hey, congrats.
It kind of crushed our YouTube live stuff that we were doing last year for a good portion of the year, but we're going to start doing this on a regular basis again. I think we called it Monday Night Live in the past, so we'll probably go with Monday Night Live.
Cool.
And we'll invite people in. We'll have conversations. Chris, welcome back, man. We
Thank
just had some great content that's been out very recently. So if you guys haven't seen the conversation we had with Chris, I've got two recent interviews with Chris. One of them, we talk about mindset and sort of get into this idea of masterminds.
Yes.
But today we're going to talk more about the mastermind and what we're going to do. So welcome back, Chris.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself to everybody and say hi.
I'm Chris Rivera, real estate broker and entrepreneur here in Puerto Rico. We've been friends with Robert for now 2.5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And love real estate. I started real estate 4 years ago, and it's been awesome. We're working a deal together that we are going to do.
Well, I want to hear about that. Maybe we can talk about that because you owe me an update this week.
I know.
And feel free to fill me in because I'm on pins and needles about what we're going to do together. But that's true. I mean, so Chris, when I met you, you were just starting in real estate.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
You were coming around at the time, maybe even really before we sort of were going on this YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
I probably had the YouTube channel, but it was real new. I was having a breakfast club at my house every week. We would sort of do a little bit of a mastermind setting.
Yes,
it was a little bit.
I'll say that.
It was nice. People would come over and they'd cook breakfast for me at my house, and I could roll out of bed. And we did it every Saturday for about a year from my house in Vista Mar Marina. And it was nice for me because I could just show up, and we had great discussions. I mean, we talked about everything during that time, and we did deals together.
Exactly.
There
were some deals done.
That's the exciting thing for me is like mastermind to me means a group of people that are going to live into doing business together, doing deals together, maybe even starting businesses together, but for sure we're going to do something in real estate together.
Definitely.
So,
and I'm excited about it.
Yeah. And so I want to talk today about your experience with masterminds, because I think you've got a great story, and you have used the power of the collective knowledge, the power of a mastermind group, and it's really catapulted you, I believe.
I would not be where I'm at today without the masterminds.
How many of them have you been involved with?
I only in one.
Just one mastermind.
One mastermind
consistently still in it.
Every Tuesday at 1 p.m. we meet on Zoom. We are all from different parts of the United States. One of the guys, Ben, is from UK.
Okay.
We all been in Tony Robbins, which is kind of the foundation of, and April Garcia, who's the business advisor, is the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I am an implementation coach. Me and Bethany are the OGs of the group.
Okay.
You know, sometimes people leave and some new people come and all that.
How do you determine when someone is able to join the group? And these are struggles, guys, that we're having in real time. Like, we want to launch Apex Mastermind and use this YouTube channel to do it. And I tell people on the YouTube channel, I don't ask you for anything, but Apex is separate from YouTube. The Flip Flop Flipper, I'm going to put out content. I tell you exactly what we do in real estate, how we do it. I talk about why we make the choices we make, and I just give it away.
Yeah.
The Apex Mastermind is more of a commitment. And so there are some people that watch us that I think will really want to make that commitment and join us. And then there are going to be some people that will want to just continue to consume the YouTube channel. And that's fine. I'm good with both. And I'm interested in the mastermind in that I want to have the collective knowledge to be able to expand our business. And I say all the time, we expand our business through partnerships. this is the way we've lived our life for 7 years since we've been on the island of Puerto
Mhm.
Rico. And now we're going to kick it up a level because we're going to form a group that is absolutely intentional about doing some stuff together.
A mastermind, it becomes a community, almost a family. We all go through struggles. It's part of life.
Yes.
When you have a group that have the genuine intention of you being well, not only me, but all of us.
Yeah.
That is what the mastermind does. And of course, we call it masterminds because we are all talking about the same subjects. In mine, it's about business.
Mhm.
Small entrepreneurs who are starting or maybe have a few years and they want to multiply their business. And that is the subject of the mastermind that I go. And April Garcia has it's called Pivot Me Academy. And that's what
It's called
Pivot Me.
Pivot Me.
Yeah.
Pivot
Academy.
Me Academy.
So, and I've been on it since 2018, December 2018.
Wow. That's a long time.
A long time. And a big commitment.
Yeah.
But I have connected from a hospital, from a meeting. I'll go out and I'll go to. It is important for me because it helps me constantly keep my mind in the right track.
Wait, so you just said you've gone on to your Tuesday commitment from the hospital room.
I had my
That's dedication.
my father-in-law was hospitalized. It was COVID. I was not able to get out of the room because they would not allow us to
walk freely.
So I had my tablet and my phone and my internet, and I connected from the hospital.
Yeah.
It's a commitment with yourself. If you are in a mastermind, it's because you want to improve you.
Yes.
And one of the best ways to learn is also to teach.
Okay.
So we share and we share and we care. And if you're going through something, I'll call you after the mastermind. Hey, how can I help? Or I have this idea.
Right.
Or maybe,
I think that's something that's important to be said here. People that are going to want to join this mastermind, I hope and I pray and expect that the ones who join, there's going to be a cost to it. There's going to be a commitment to it.
Yeah.
Whether or not we go for years and years with the same core group, I don't know, but we're going to start out with a commitment of 3 or 4 months, right? And I want to be sure that the people who join Apex are going to know that ahead of time, right? Like there's something expected of you if you're going to be a part of the group. You can't just be silent.
We do a commitment
you have to show
of
up
6
to give.
months.
You do a commitment of 6 months.
When you start with us.
Okay.
And why? Because you have to give the chance to things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And this is once a week. And I'll call my guys and I'll do to follow up and see how you're doing and do as much as I can to help them achieve what they say they want to achieve.
And does the whole group share contacts? So everybody's got each other's phone number. You meet once a week, but during the week, if we're having a problem, I may call Chris and say, hey, Chris, I'm going through this. What could you tell me? I heard you say something last week and that applies to me. Or
we do that all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's crucial. Actually, I'll say the coach probably speaks 25% of the time. Everything else is people sharing.
Yeah.
And of course, we start the meeting talking about wins. And say, why wins? Well, we are, and I'm trained like that already, is to look at life in the positive things that are happening. Because we know that whatever is wrong is available, but also is what is good, what is right.
Right. And if you look for wins, you'll see wins.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
So one of the questions in every meeting is who want to share a win or how they took back their power. Why? Because we fall.
Yeah.
So what did you do? So you share that with us.
Yeah.
And we all share maybe the struggle and how we got out of it. if we did.
Yes.
It's this kind of, I love my mastermind and their family. And
Yep.
we meet, we're going to California now in September to a live event. And so we get to hug each other and share stuff about life and business and community, man. Community is
So I'm glad you brought that up. And I would say, as we've been thinking through this Apex Mastermind, and one of the things that we want to do is do life together. So, you know, we're going to have a couple of meetings a month. So they'll be scheduled. And I think it's going to go for 4 months. But then I'd like to invite the group, and probably I'll open it up to even more people that just are members of the YouTube channel that couldn't join the mastermind maybe, or want to join the next set and do something here on the island and bring people to Puerto Rico to have this experiential time together.
Mhm.
Yes, we'll at that we'll, I'm sure, still be coaching and talking and trying to figure out how to do business together. Maybe we even look at projects. Maybe we've even started a project. Who knows, right? But we'll also come and eat together, and we'll go see the island together. We'll go exploring. We'll go sailing. Maybe, I don't know, but we'll
We can
have
go to
we'll have
auctions and
we'll
all
have
kind of,
experiences together, and through those experiences, business will happen. And we had some of this happen on a cruise that we went on. We
Yeah,
talked about that
yeah.
before, and we're going to go on the cruise again with Davin Michael's group, the San Juan Social Club, which, by the way, I had my first person sign up to go on the cruise. And
Awesome.
Davin sent me a text and he's like, "Hey, someone said you referred them to go on the cruise." I'm like,
Awesome.
"All right, who is it?" And I'm like, "Oh, Kimberly Jackson." I'm like, "Oh, awesome."
Awesome.
And so I got to share with him about Kimberly. You know, Kimberly's a dynamic entrepreneur, maybe someone who would join the mastermind. And I'm not trying to call her out, but
Is she in Puerto Rico?
she's in Puerto Rico some of the time, and she's
Okay.
in the States some of the time, and she's done projects in Puerto Rico. So she has projects, at least a couple, I think, in Ponce. So she's doing her thing down there, and she would come to the Breakfast Club. And yeah, so I think she's a wonderful fit for the San Juan Social Club, though, because she's entrepreneurial. She's got a lot of experience in real estate development. And so just it was fun when I got that text, because it was completely unexpected. Like, I've told some people about it. I've had a lot of people tell me they're going to come.
Right.
That's the first one that actually
Made it,
signed and put my
yeah.
name down, right? Like, and I think there are other people that maybe are coming, and they're coming through the Rio Rico, or they're coming through you, and they maybe heard me talk about it. But this one, Kimberly actually said, "Hey, Robbie said I should come on this cruise." And
Excellent.
I am telling everybody to go on this cruise. It's really, really worth it. That's not what we're here to talk about today, but I can't like talk it up enough, because it really delivered a lot of value.
And it was a big mastermind.
It was a big mastermind. And the reason I kind of go back to it is this experiential doing life together is sometimes way more powerful than just always thinking about business, right? Like, going snorkeling together, going sailing together, going exploring an island, and getting to know people. Then business relationships can come of that kind of thing, right? And what I think I remember about the social club cruise was that we had dinner together, what, 4
Three
nights,
times.
three times.
Mhm.
Yeah, you were like my lifesaver for dinner, because I was horrible at making plans. So I would just, "Chris, you got an extra table?" I think the last time you actually said, "Robbie, it's full," and I'm like, "Well, I'm showing up anyway."
Right. And someone canceled.
Then someone canceled. Thank God. Yeah.
Listen, in my experience, I've been, thanks to Davin, who introduced me to the networks that he does all the time. I have done maybe over 1,000 network events in 3 years. I network
What?
probably, I go to events probably from 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay.
I'm doing something.
So that's a really interesting statement you just made. You've done or been to 1,000 events for networking.
Easy.
And if you compare the events and the people that you're doing business with, you must be doing business with people who you're meeting at networking.
90%.
So you're 90% doing your
deals, my real estate deals
through people you're networking with.
Yeah.
And are you doing business with and deals with people that are inside of your mastermind as well?
Besides you, no.
Really?
No. I mean, I have deals from the people I met in the cruise.
Yes.
But of the events in Puerto Rico,
I think that's true. I go to a lot of events, not 1,000, I don't think, but I see you at every place I go. You and John Anderson,
right?
I mean, John Anderson's a super connected. That guy is at everything that I've ever been to.
Yeah.
There was a concert one night in.
He goes more than I do.
At the music. He goes to everything. In fact, I can just call him up and say, "Hey, John, what's going on? It's a Tuesday night.
Yeah,
what's going on?"
there.
And he'll say, "Here's what's going on." But we show. So funny story about John. Linda and I showed up to a concert that was held at the museum here in Santurce, and it was outside. And of course, John is there, and I walk up and I say, "Hey, John," and then John hands my wife a bottle of wine and says, "Hey, welcome. I'm so glad you're here." And he's got a gift. And I'm like, John, he's amazing. He's amazing. I don't know if he had like a whole case and he was just handing them out to everybody, but it made her feel special. Like,
of course,
he's a master connector and a genuine good guy. So,
yep, he is. So that's why I think masterminds and networks events are so important.
I want to make sure and be intentional about our mastermind that yes, we're networking together, but I think a super important part of it is that we do business together. That's how I'll judge it as whether it's successful or not, right? It's not going to be about whether or not I get 20 or 25 people that show up and pay to come to a mastermind that we're putting on. What will be the judge of success for me is what do we do together? Do we buy a real estate deal anywhere in the country together?
And I think that also will happen that some people might do a deal guided by us.
Yes.
Maybe it's not with us because they want to do it by themselves, or they have the money but they don't know. I mean,
I don't think they have to do a deal with me
exactly
or with you, but if there's 20 of us in the mastermind,
we want everybody to make
somebody does a deal with somebody else in the group, and that's super important. I mean,
it is,
and I envision that it'll be a group that's bigger than just the island of Puerto Rico. So there may be opportunities for people to do deals with us in Puerto Rico, especially around people who are here, who can see it or who are interested in it. But someone who's watched the YouTube channel now and likes the content and they're in Wisconsin, they may find a deal and bring it to the group and have either the whole group does it or one person from the group does it with them, or nobody does it with them, but they do the deal and we help them through it. And we go through the process with them. So I think for me, that's a big metric.
It is for me the purpose of a mastermind.
It is, and I'm new to this mastermind stuff. I've read about him. Napoleon Hill. He's kind of, I think of Grow Rich is probably my second favorite book in the entire planet. I've read it several times. I have it on loop sometimes. If I need to drive for hours, I'll put on Think and Grow Rich because you can't ever get enough of that. That's in the Bible. Yeah. I'm always reading.
No, and it also keeps you focused. It keeps reminding.
Yes,
we have to be conscious and purposely deciding what we put in our brain.
Yeah.
And if we allow Netflix to make that decision, it might not be a good one.
That might not be a good one. It probably isn't going to be any good for any of us.
Exactly.
I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do, I binge watch it. And then I kind of feel dirty afterwards, right? Like it's... I just watched television for 6 hours over 3 days, and what a waste of time. But sometimes you unplug and it's okay.
And it's necessary.
Yeah.
But as long as you're conscious about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch 4 hours of TV.
Yeah.
Good. Enjoy it.
Yeah. And I do that binge watch and then don't watch TV again for a long time.
You know,
Someone will say, "Hey, here's a great show," and then or Don has turned, "Here's a good show," and I'll watch it. And it's nice that you can binge watch them now too, because
yeah.
you don't have to. Do we have some questions, Don?
Thank Al Lynn, who just filled out the questionnaire.
Who?
Al Lynn.
Al Lynn? Thank you for filling out the questionnaire. We will get in touch with you. We'll get you information about this Apex Mastermind. Guys, we're thinking of launching June 15th. That is the day. And I'm putting that out there as a line in the sand so that it forces us as a group. And we're going to talk about this a little bit as we keep going on tonight, but I want to have this line in the sand of a start date. So I'm trying to form this group and get it going. And June 15th is the day that we want to launch it. And you know what? I should have probably looked at the calendar before I said June 15th, because I don't even know what day of the week that is. let me look. Because we could change that on the fly.
And the other important thing that you need to set up is what day and time in the week you're going to meet.
Correct.
Because people need to schedule, especially if they are in different time zones.
Yes, and I'm actually looking that June 15th is a Saturday. So
Bad day.
I don't think we'll be wanting to do meetings on a Saturday, because that's a hard day for people. So what we'll do as we get closer to middle of June, let's redefine this. We want to launch mid-June, and we'll identify which day of the week, and we'll set a schedule out, and we will make sure that people who are filling out this form and we're getting them the information ahead of time.
Let me put you
setting
in the spot. How long is going to be each meeting?
I think that each meeting is from probably an hour to 2 hours. Is that what is your experience for?
We do it 1 hour.
You do 1 hour
every week.
You do it every week, 1 hour. And
Every
if
week.
we're doing every other week,
It's never 1 hour. It's always hour 15,
Yeah.
hour 20. But we try to cover everything in 1 hour. Why? Because it's in working time.
yes.
So, and sometimes it's hard for me to. Sometimes I'm driving to Lares or Ponce, and I have the mastermind in the car,
Yeah.
because it's we keep living, and we have to work, and we have to do stuff. So 1 hour for me is good enough. It depends also on the amount of people you have in the mastermind.
Yeah.
Because
I think that if there's 5 of us, 1 hour is more
it's
than
perfect.
enough time.
It's perfect.
If there's 20 of us,
we need to,
we may need 2 hours. So I think it's going to be an hour
or
to
two different days.
or we'll have to expand to different days. And then I believe I've lost my train of thought.
1 hour is good.
So 1 hour to 2 hours. I'm hoping that we're going to have 10 to 20 people in the mastermind, and then we'll have our team. So the Apex team, and it's yourself, it's Don, myself, my son McKenna, maybe Bill Halleck, or there's a couple of other people that I've sort of quietly asked if they want to. I want to make sure that there's enough from our side that we are going to provide plenty of value. And I don't want it to just be a 1 hour a week where I show up and talk and people are asking me questions. I really want it to be a true mastermind where we're having discussions and people bring their experience. They bring their questions, they bring their problems, they bring their solutions,
Exactly.
they bring their network.
Yep.
And I have this vision of sharing all of this. And
I have pitched a hotel project to a guy in England that has a big capital company with his father. I mean, these guys are in the what is called the New York Stock Exchange, but in England, these guys are that big. And I got this meeting because one guy from the mastermind said, you should talk with. He's called Christopher too, from England, because he might be able to help. The deal did not happen, but we have met more than once on Zoom.
Yeah.
talking about business and opportunities, and I have learned a lot with these guys, and that happened because of one guy of the mastermind who knew about the projects that I want to do, about these hotels and all this stuff that we have in Puerto Rico, and it happens. And everybody's in the same attitude of sharing as much as we can.
Yeah. And for me, so this Puerto Rico has been revolutionary in my business world. When I came from the States, I was a real estate investor, and I went to live auctions for most of my career. For about 20 years, I would show up every single day at the courthouse somewhere, sometimes multiple places, because it went online, and we were trying to buy anything that fit our criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And we had friends, right? There were people there that were our competitors, and we were frenemies, or we were friendly with them. We'd go have lunch,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't collaborate. We didn't try to expand each other's business. I wasn't telling you my secrets or what I saw.
Right.
I wasn't sharing that. It's only after coming to Puerto Rico, and I really believe because of Puerto Rico, I got here to this island and felt this collaboration in the air. And because of that, we started telling people that we expand our business through partnerships. This is something that just kind of happened organically very, very early on. And because of that, we are doing so much more now, or 6.5 years later, than we were when we came. I mean, for 20 years, I bought and sold basically single family houses, thousands of them. I did a lot, but now I'm a hotelier. Now I've got commercial properties. Now I'm developing land.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so much more that has happened, and it has been because I've invited people to partner with us, to collaborate with us, and to bring their knowledge. And if I hadn't done that, I would be in my little box.
It's an invitation, and when you open to partner with people, and I also I'll say that about you, that you are a very down to earth guy who talk with everybody. You know, you are a guy easy to access, and it's something that helps, because maybe you'll find a partner that is not that knowledgeable, or maybe has a few $1,000s that is willing to invest, but doesn't have the $200,000 or $300,000 that is required to finish the project.
Yeah.
And you say, no problem, I'll teach you. Let's be partners on this. And that is a big deal. And having you as a leader in the mastermind with that attitude of caring about people and being happy when someone do a deal and make some money is the gift of the mastermind. That is the gift, because I know that you make more deals. I know that you get more people interested, but I know you don't care. I know that if someone shows and asks you, you'll say yes.
I hope that I do. I try to, right?
I've seen it.
What we want to do.
You know,
I go back to the Breakfast Club. People would come and they would lay out their problems, and inevitably it would turn to me and they'd say, have you done this? And this was kind of a first experience at mastermind groups. And we would have different people that would show up in the room that had done tremendous things, but bigger things than I had ever done. And the openness, the willingness to share, the willingness to give has, again, that's a fundamental change in the way that I do business since coming to Puerto Rico, since starting this YouTube channel. I mean, when I first started the YouTube channel, I didn't know that I had anything to say. Like, we would struggle for, well, what are we going to talk about? And now I just say what's on my mind. I answer people's questions. You know, one of the things that I like to do is someone will say in the comments of a YouTube channel, they'll in the comments of one of the videos, hey, could you talk about this? And I'll say, yes, I'll do a video on it. And we'll come in and I'll say, Adam, we got to do a video about this, and we'll do it as fast as we can. Like, oh, they're asking about subject to deals. Let's do a video about subject to deals. Someone's asking about buying an Airbnb in Puerto Rico. Let's do a video about that. Whatever it is, I love it when I get asked and put on the spot and get the opportunity to let people know what we're doing.
And that is what is going to happen in the mastermind.
Agreed.
That is, again, the gift, which is our gift, because giving is the gift.
Yeah.
And when we get in a position to be able to help and also put some pressure to whoever said is committed, because it is important that we do that.
Mm-hmm.
You said you want to do a deal. What are you going to do? What are you looking for? And we'll do the questions,
Right.
and we'll write it down.
Right.
And the following week, we'll ask, you said you were going to find 4 houses. Let me see them.
Right.
Or you said you were going to go to the auction.
You're talking about accountability.
Accountability.
Yes. And it doesn't matter what it is that they say that they're going to do. We will try to hold people accountable, because people will show up and they'll tell us where they're at. And they'll say what they're going to do. Hopefully they'll do what they say. I'm a huge proponent of telling people first what I'm going to do. And this goes back to years ago. I can remember telling people that I was going to go to the foreclosure sale and buy a house, and I'd never done it before. And then I became one of the biggest, definitely part of the good old boy network, where at the foreclosure sale, I was in the know, in the click, right? Like if you showed up as a novice, you were going to deal with me. And back then it wouldn't have been real pleasant for you. I wasn't sharing, but I told people for months before I ever did it. And I can point to that in my life again and again and again. The one that I say here is that pretty early on in my journey in Puerto Rico, I started telling people that I was a hotelier. And I had bought a hotel, a roadside motel in Florida one time, and sold it right before I came to Puerto Rico. And so I just started saying, I'm a hotelier. I'm a hotelier. And we would laugh about it, my friends and I. Oh, yeah, Robbie's a hotelier. And, you know,
So there you are.
I'm a hotelier. I'm not a Hilton,
right.
but we've done several hotel deals.
And
we run several hotel deals. Don helped us run one we just sold. So, yeah.
It doesn't mean either that you will not have a Hilton.
It doesn't mean that we won't have a Hilton. We're working on a branded hotel through an opportunity zone on the island of Puerto Rico right now.
Where?
As we speak. So on Juan Ponce de Leon, the Hyatt building is
okay.
The first of what will hopefully be a few. We've got a few projects that are opportunity zones. I've talked about a lot on this channel about opportunity zones, and we have an opportunity zone fund, and that's happening. So again, I don't know that it'll ever be the Hilton, but it's going to be special. It's going to be something that's going to be recognizable for Juan Ponce de Leon. The 40 rooms with retail space, with a beautiful restaurant concept on the top. And this building was at one time, it was the first Sears. It held the first McDonald's for the island of Puerto Rico.
Wow.
So it's got a lot of history, a lot of cool stuff. And we purchased it from the family who owned it for a long, long time. And part of when we were talking to them, part of the reason that they ended up selling to us and my partners was that we discussed with them the legacy of it, right? Like their building was important for a long period of time. It had become very distressed and dilapidated and emptied out. We were going to bring it back. And that's important, not just for us, but important for the family that was going to trust us with something that they would then sell to us.
For Puerto Rico.
And for Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. That legacy thing is really important to people on the island of Puerto Rico.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. We need to, we love our island. And
you should.
Yeah. I think, I was going to say that if you don't see yourself today, in your future you never be that person. and you saying to yourself, I'm hotelier.
Yeah.
Puts you in that position. And when you say that and you believe that, you start acting as.
You open doors
You
that you
open
wouldn't
doors.
that you wouldn't have had before.
And it's because you're seeing yourself
Yep.
as your future.
I started saying it and then started looking at things differently. So a good example of that would be we bought a 4-family home in Luquillo. And this is right around the time I started saying I was a hotelier. And we started looking at these properties differently. And the highest and best use for this small little 4-family house turned out to be a 7-room little guest house hotel. And we built it out for that. And we ran it that way for years. We just sold it. Adon helped with that. So we had this idea that we had never had before, right? Like every other time for 2,000 acquisitions, that would have just been a 4-plex.
Mhm.
I would have only renovated it to rent it long term. We wouldn't have made nearly as much money. We wouldn't have had nearly as much fun. It wouldn't have touched as many people. I mean, we got to employ people for long periods of time. I think that because we built it out and made it the small little guest house hotel, the area kind of started to get better too. There were people that put a coffee shop in across the street and someone put a restaurant in across the street. That's not because we did it, but because we did it, they saw the area as something that was more than
New
just
opportunity.
a place where a slumlord lets some people rent a property. Or in this case, there was no one even living in it. It was just a dilapidated building, just, in terrible shape. So yeah, you speak things into existence. I think I'm going off on a tangent there, but I really do believe that it's super important what you said. You have to see your future self, tell yourself, tell others, and then become that.
And act as is.
Act as is.
Why?
As if you're going.
Yeah, and not only that, if you compare yourself with what is required for you to be that person, you're probably not doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
In the phone calls, in the exercise, whatever it is.
Right.
Right. If I want to be a 3 athlete, I better start. If I want to see that, I better start acting as is, which will mean that I have to be disciplined and start walking and running and going swimming and doing the bike.
Right.
Even if I'm a disaster at it, if I want to be that in the future, I must act today as
That's right.
if I am.
Mm-hmm.
And in this mastermind will help people to see themselves as flippers or investors or whatever it is.
Business owners.
Yeah.
I hope entrepreneurs, multiple business owners, people who are going to find multiple streams of revenue. A big one for me, we talk about it on this YouTube channel a lot, is I talk about the broken systems of our world, whether that's an employment system that doesn't reward you as an employee, whether that's a university system that no longer delivers on the promise of a better future. There's just system after system that are broken. And so people call it the matrix or the rat race. And we encourage people to step outside of that and truly, truly believe that by being a bit capitalistic and taking control for yourself, starting businesses yourself, you can step outside of these systems that are really not set up for your good, right? Like
it is not.
They're set up to trap you and make you feel secure. And it's a false security that I think there's a better way.
And some people will believe and die saying that that is the way to go.
And for some people, it is the way to go.
Yeah.
For me, it never was. I was a bad employee, dreaded getting up and going and working for someone else.
Yeah.
And I work way harder now, put way more hours in now. I mean, we haven't had to do what we do for many, many years now. Like we could have retired and sailed the world if we wanted to, but I enjoy getting up and putting in, half day work, 12-hour days of work, 6 days a week. That's what I like to do.
I think that every entrepreneur will want to work until they die.
And I think that if I ever stop, I'll die. That's That's what
because we are passionate about it.
yeah, my wife's like, one day we want to retire, don't we? I'm like, oh, have you ever seen what happens to people when they retire? They die. I don't want to do that.
I have the partner with who I'm doing Lattice is 77.
Yes.
And he works. I mean, this guy works hard.
Yeah.
Big deals. And he's always every deal is 10 million a year. So, you know.
We have a hotel project in Cabo Rojo, and we're trying to find a partner for it or sell it. And this 85-year-old man showed up at my office 3 weeks ago, and he's telling me about his vision for it. He's gone to see the property, and you know, he's potentially thinking he could bring it back to life. It needs a massive amount of work.
Is he Puerto Rican?
He's a Puerto Rican guy, and he wants to put a casino. And I said, you're 85 years old. Why? He's like, well, this is what I do. This is what I've always done. And I just want to do this one more deal. And that's the way I feel. I just want to do this one more deal.
And I bet, I mean, he doesn't need the money.
Right.
Right. He does it because he loves it. It's his life.
Yeah. And
that is what entrepreneurship is.
Sorry, I'm looking at my phone. I'm trying to find this YouTube live and see if we have any questions.
Yeah. What's the latest deal?
Oh, what's the Lares deal?
It's
yeah. So tell us about the Lares deal. That's great.
Lares is 45 cuerdas of land in there, and we are going to do a low-income housing project to help Puerto Ricans who has lost their homes, and we're working with the tax credits and R3s. We're hopeful that we'll be able to just accept the vouchers and help the people and make very little money, but make some money.
Yeah, and so tell the people there are vouchers on the island right now.
Okay,
that have been handed out by the government, by FEMA, I think,
yes,
because of a loss that happened during
it's
either Maria or then the next storm that
earthquake,
came, Fiona and the earthquake. So
it's a relocation voucher that many people who have lost their home have, and the demand of houses is a lot bigger than what is available in inventory. And one of the reasons is because when the majority of the houses that are empty in Puerto Rico don't comply with the HUD codes, so you can receive the voucher. And now there's a waiver and all that. The government is trying as much as they can to help people, but there's still a lot of demand. And Lares and the towns around it is one of the places where the biggest need is.
Yeah.
I went there last week for an event that the government did for tourism
in Lares.
Yeah.
Okay.
I met the director of tourism of Lares. And they all say that the project is very well needed. So
they know about this project as well.
I talk about that already.
And
it happens that I met with this kid that I know. He's the son of a friend of mine from church, and it happens that he's working in La Junta de Planificación at Lares. So I talked to him about the project. This happened on Sunday, walking in Plaza Las Americas, that I found him. And so I think I believe in God, and I think God puts everything together, you know.
He opens doors.
Dang,
yeah.
It's something incredible.
Yeah.
Man. And that's why I know it's going to happen. I feel so confident and happy and so positive about the project.
My wife is calling. Should I answer?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm answering. Hey, honey. I'm doing a YouTube live, so say hi to everybody. Oh, she hung up. She's a little camera shy, even though she wasn't there.
So yeah, that is the project in Lares. It's a low income. So it's called affordable housing. It should be the right word. Is how it's called today, and it's for the people in need.
And so we'll give a little background. So this development that you're talking about, the people, they know of it. It's 45 acres of land. It was a low income or working class housing development play back in
20 years
like
ago.
2005. And
Easy.
the guy had a plan, site plans, had actually built 10 houses, started to build roads, and then of course the banking crash happened in the middle of this development, and that's as far as they got. They basically built out 2 houses almost to completion. We came in and finished them. Once we acquired the land, we finished the first 2 houses and sold them. So now there's 2 houses where people are living on this land. There's 8 more shells that are about 50% done, 60% done, would you say?
I'll say 50.
50% done. There's a house there, but doors, windows, power, water, there's a lot that still needs to be done.
A lot.
A lot. Right now, there are some very fine horses that live in these houses.
Big horses.
Big horses. And that's just these houses have been sitting there as shells for 20 years. And then there's 200 more to be built. And so when we acquired the land, I go back to what I was saying. I'm a hotelier, so I look at it as this potential tourism opportunity. How do I stick it into Act 60? How do I get 40% tax credits? And we kicked that around. We looked at doing farming. We looked at everything. We looked at doing solar. There's a lot of good things that can happen from thinking through and then developing out something.
Definitely.
And if I hadn't met you, or if you don't go see the land and then kind of get excited and then get me excited about actually building out what was the original plan, that's probably not the way that we would go. But I think that what your plan is going to be more impactful for the city of Juarez than anything that I would have done. I mean, we would have provided some jobs and stuff.
I mean, I remember the idea of the clamping, and I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Sin Lares. Well, maybe they do. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe, but I'm not a hotelier.
Yeah.
And it's not something that calls my attention.
But you're passionate about helping people get back into their houses, and and you have a partner who knows the mayor, and you have someone who's on your team that knows about these credits or vouchers that the people have. I don't know anything about that stuff. I've heard about it. I know that it exists.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're excited to do this partnership with you. I really hope that it comes together and gets done. I do believe, like you, that God sort of opens doors for people. And I think right now there's a door open for us to do something together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know what's the question?
Hey guys, if you're watching and you've got some questions for Chris and I, put them in the chat and we will be glad to answer any questions that you've got, whether that's about masterminds or whether it's about anything that you hear us talking about, real estate development, just real estate in general, or entrepreneurial stuff. It's an open forum for us guys, and we would love to have interaction with you guys. If you're on here and you haven't already hit that thumbs up for us, hit that like button for us. It helps a lot to put the YouTube algorithm to push this out a little bit more for us. So yeah,
why not?
Do you have any questions for me, Chris? I mean, we've had now a series of conversations, and I've sort of thrown you into the spotlight of saying, hey, we're going to do this mastermind group. Will you come alongside it?
I have a good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me something difficult in the partnerships.
How long you got? Everybody put your seatbelts on.
Because this is what we're offering.
Yeah.
I want them to know something that they are going to find out.
Well, so I said earlier, I started this partnership-driven business. This is the way we expand our business, through partnerships, once we came to the island of Puerto Rico. And so because I'm thinking of it in that context, I have to say, doing business on the island of Puerto Rico has its challenges.
Mhm.
And so that is probably one of the hardest things to get across. And I even had a conversation with a young lady who is partnered with us on a small little house up in the mountains of Carolina. You've been there with me, I think. It's gone longer than we expected. And so this managing partnerships and expectations is a difficulty, especially when it's based around the idea of things happening quickly
Yep.
on the island of Puerto Rico, or dealing with the government and getting permits. So today, this is a great question, Chris, because I've got the conversation going with the young woman who needs for her money to turn. She
Right.
wants her investment to finish and get paid and make a profit, right? So we're thinking about that, and we're still waiting for a buyer. It doesn't go fast, and she's of course not here. She's in the mainland
Okay.
and doesn't get to see it. And I'm trying to explain to her, hey, this isn't like Florida. This is very different. We're going to make money, but quickly just isn't a thing. And then I had another conversation with a different guy who I'm looking at doing some partnership on some small guest house stuff, and he's asking me about permits on the island. You know, how and his question is, how can we expedite the permitting process on the island of Puerto Rico? And I said, if you can figure that out, we're gonna all be rich.
Hey, maybe we create a team in the Apex Masterminds who have a solution for the government.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, no.
I think just the idea of doing business on the island of Puerto Rico is very, very different. And so managing those expectations with people who aren't necessarily here, or even people who are here.
Yeah.
But you know, when a person like me comes here from wherever there is, especially if it's California or New York, they have expectations of things going quickly.
Yep.
And they come here with this idea on their mindset. And I think I'm even guilty of this, that because I'm who I am, I'm going to get the island to change. And I've heard this for 7 years. And now I'm 7 years in, and I can look people in the eye and go, listen, if you think that you're coming to this island and you're going to get the island to change, it's not going to work out for you. You're going to leave. You're going home. This won't be a fun, good experience. You're going to learn how to relax and do things at a slower pace, or you're going to leave.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yep.
I have not one time seen someone successfully come here.
And many people have gone back.
Lots of people go back. Yeah. Yeah. And you either come and you love it, or you don't, and it's not for everybody, right?
If you're gonna move to Puerto Rico, you better love the beach and the low pace, and we have a great attitude about having fun and all that. But yeah, for sure.
I got one question.
What is the question?
I was trying to read the question.
Alan wants to know if you guys have a story about when a partnership or mastermind membership saved your bank. So if you ever were in a situation where you can go to the mastermind and it gave you a solution to get out of it.
You've got more experience with
Yeah.
Mastermind than I have. I can answer it from the partnership, but why don't you answer it from a mastermind standpoint if you can?
There's one of the guys that are in our mastermind is in the banking. He's a consultant for banks,
Mm-hmm.
and his business is to help banks avoid problems with the law, bad loans, and all this
Mhm.
kind of. And for that, there is a very specific procedure that sometimes banks or employees, go. And anyway, he was having a difficulty to get more clients to increase the volume of business, and he brought it to the mastermind. And in one call, I'll say in 25 minutes, he had so many ideas and so many things that he increased his business. I think it was a 40% in the next month.
Wow.
just following all the stuff that we discussed with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he brought a problem to the group and was vulnerable. You know, said, here's the problem that I'm having. Who's got some solutions? And there were other people in your mastermind group that were able to tell him experiences that they had, and it helped him to increase his business by 40%.
And sometimes, and in this case happened, one of the things was, let's do, why you don't find and get some time to do a business development with April, because she does that as a business consultant. And he traveled to her a hotel, and they met together. They were spent 2 days just designing what was needed to be done for the business too.
Yeah.
And he invested time, he invested money, and now he's doing very well.
Nice.
Very well.
That's what we want to have happen as part of a mastermind group, is that you come to the group with the vulnerability, the willing to share, the willing to ask people for help, or the willing to say, here's a problem that I'm having, and then let the group collectively live into that and give you some, and be willing to take some advice, right? Some steps that you can take.
Mentorship is the shortcut to success. And if you allow the other people's mistake to teach you, you will avoid many things.
That's for sure.
So if I ask you, hey, Robert, I want to do this deal for this house.
Yes.
And you say, Chris, the long-term value of that property is not going to be that. You're going to need to invest this amount of money, and I don't think you should buy it because I will pay this amount of money.
Yep.
If I decide to follow your advice, I will avoid a big mistake.
Yep.
Because if I buy the house and you were right, because I'm thinking that I can sell the property $20,000 over, I might go bankrupt.
You might.
Right?
You might.
So following the advice of someone that had lived experience is something that we need to teach more. For anything.
Right?
Health. I mean, if you're going to ask a health question, please make it to someone that is healthy.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I'm not the guy to give you an advice.
Right.
Right.
Don't ask me about curing your blood sugar.
Right.
I have failed thus far.
When I started in real estate, when I did Tony Robbins event, I was working in Tony Robbins event. I was working on events in Puerto Rico, and I did that for 11 years. And I was already the CEO of the company, making a decent salary and all that. But I was tired and was the slave of the company. And when I got my real estate license that I had resigned already, I was going to work with a friend who I met at Tony Robbins. And April, my mentor, said, "No, you're not." And I said, "Why not?" She says, "How much she makes a year?" I said, "I don't know." "Who pays her house?" "I don't know." What she drives? So, BM. And she's not the person. And she said, "You're going to look online for the 3 top real estate companies. You're going to look for the CEOs or owners of those companies. And then you're going to ask some of that people that you know already, who knows who. And they are going to connect you. You will write the email. And they're going to send it from their email. That is the favor you're going to ask." So I had this friend who's in the real estate business. And I said, "Pello, I need to work with the biggest company in Puerto Rico. Who's the guy?"
Right.
And he told me Ivan Zavala.
Yep.
He got me the meeting and start working.
I'm having coffee with Ivan tomorrow.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Awesome. I saw him last week.
I hope to have him in to do a little video and let him tell us about what he's doing, because he's always doing some amazing
And
things.
he's very good at it.
He's really good. Yeah.
So, and that is another example of how the mastermind helped me in particular to not starting from the secretary up
Right.
and finding the right person to do the business, because I was going to start learning.
Yep.
I should learn from the best.
So
I
you
should.
did. And
I did.
because she gave you the advice to, hey, don't go with the first person. When you get your real estate license,
You know
there's
nothing.
hundreds of brokers out there that would love to have you come work with them. Some of them have an experience in helping new people become good at what they do. I think Ivan Zavala is one of those. Reality Realty, they have a habit of producing top producers. So
Yeah.
it's a
And
good place to start.
You know,
as a-
Milton Serrano is also
Milton is amazing.
He's, I mean,
Yeah.
and he's a mentor. He's
Yes.
still my mentor.
He's great.
This guy
I really
knows.
like Milton a lot.
And I'll say Reality Realty, big part of the success is Milton Serrano.
Yeah.
I mean, Ivan is a great guy, knows a lot, but he's more into the big business and other parts of the deals. And
Yeah.
but Milton knows the day-to-day rent, commercial. I mean, you can ask the guy, he knows.
Yeah, he's really sharp. Yeah, so that's two good examples. I'll give one. It's not from a mastermind, but just partnerships that I formed. And the question was, when did a partnership save my bacon? And I have what I think is a very good example of that with Adon. So we ran a small guest house hotel in Luquillo, and on, let's say, a Tuesday of last year, sometime early last year, we have our meeting with the guy who's managing the property, and things are looking pretty good, like they are every week. And by that Thursday, this guy is gone, completely MIA, just left us, and
Wow.
eventually pretty quickly. So I'm on Tuesday, everything's fine. On a Thursday, it's like, we don't know what's going on. Where did it go? Right. And because I was mentoring and partnerships with Adon is riding around with me. We're looking at stuff, and he knows I'm having this problem where now who's going to go and manage this property? And Adon says, I'll go. And Adon, so I mean, if this was a Thursday, Adon's there running the property on a Friday.
Wow.
And he'd never done it before. But we had partnered with each other, and he trusted us, and we trusted him, and it went really, really well. And we managed to sell it just like last month. So that saved our bacon. Like when these things come up, it's really nice to be able to look to someone to your left or to your right and say, and I don't even think I asked him. I just think Adon heard what was going on and said, I'm on my way. I'm going.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And so he jumps in and starts running a property, a guest house hotel. His prior experience with that is that he had run some Airbnb stuff. And so it wasn't like he completely didn't know how to do it. But at the time, we didn't know our passwords for all of the booking sites. we didn't know, how to handle the any of the accounts, and then this guy was running our property and was pretty much autonomous, and then just was gone very quickly.
Wow.
So that one saved us. And I have other stories like that. I mean, I think other people would have stories about us where they were having trouble, and we came in and gave them a different perspective. Or maybe someone buys that house where they think that it's going to sell for X amount more, and it's just not happening. And because they knew us because of a breakfast club or whatever, we were able to pivot. And pivot is a big thing in real estate investing, and finding a new way for it to be profitable.
Yep.
That's something we call it the highest and best use, but that's something that we've seen happen again and again, where
And
people start out with an idea and it's just for whatever reason, and it's happened to us too. It's not going to work, and then so you look for your partners, your friends, your people in the mastermind to try
What we
and
can do. Yeah,
reconfigure,
exactly.
reimagine what can we. Hey, we've already bought it, right? So in this instance, let's say you've already bought the house and it's not going your way. Now we come up with a new idea. Well, you were gonna buy it to fix it and sell it. Well, why don't we just go to the bank and refinance it and rent it out? And you know,
Whatever.
there's always an answer, right?
Yep.
There's sometimes they're tough choices, but there's usually a way through it.
Do you know what's the reticular activating system? Two questions. Reticular activating system.
No, what is this?
We have behind our eyes a system that recognize where we are focusing in on. And if you buy a new car and you start driving it, suddenly you see the same car and the same color everywhere.
Oh, I know. Right.
True?
We've all experienced that. Yeah.
Why?
Because you're focusing on it.
Because you're focusing on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's something that we have as humans, but it happens also with business opportunities and answers. And one of the things that I have learned is to change the question.
Mm-hmm.
And in business, I was going through some stuff today with a client, and I have been able to develop a new question when what I'm seeing is not something that I want. And then the question is, well, how can I fix it? What other way to do it? What should I say to make this result or this to happen?
Right.
And the answers will show up.
Right.
And in the mastermind, when you change the question, new answers are going to show up.
I think that's super powerful. And I've seen that. It's something that I try to be thoughtful of. You can get to where you're looking here and you're focused here and you can't see anything else. And if someone can come and snap you out of it and get you to look a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, it's a brand new picture and there's a new idea or a new way. So that the mindset is powerful. The idea of asking different questions. I'm always amazed at people that have that skill set. There are people that just have this ability that they may not know your business, but they know how to ask questions in a way that can get you to change your focus.
Because we all have the answers.
Yeah.
We all do.
We have some other questions.
So, quick shout out to Alan.
Alan, shout out.
Thank you for the help in the comments.
Yeah, appreciate the comments.
So,
Appreciate you filling out the form. We'll be in touch. I think my son McKenna, he's reaching out and setting up a Zoom call with anybody who fills out this form. If you guys are interested in the mastermind, click on the link and fill out the form. And there's real quick, we get the information, and then McKenna will reach out and set up a Zoom call and get you some information, get some information from you too.
So we're going down the list. PR787 Trey said he was inspired by his channel to open a roofing and painting company.
Wow.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
got a shout out.
That's
Congrats.
amazing.
Yeah.
So is that a local business here for
PR.
It says PR. I'm asking PR. What is it? PR what?
PR787 Trade.
787 Trade. So that's the local business, but amazing.
And then Daniels says, how are you seeing the digitization of real estate evolving in Puerto Rico? Obviously, it's not great right now, but have you heard or met anyone making serious strides in compelling the RE data?
Yeah. So Daniel, that's a great question. If Puerto Rico has a problem that needs to be solved, this technology, this data information is a big problem that can be solved, that will be solved. And so
there's big
there's people
efforts.
working on it. Red Atlas. So Red Atlas is a company here that it's a startup, and they are tackling this issue, and we've got content with them on the channel that you guys can click in and see. But they are tackling the real estate data problem. So through Red Atlas, you can go to an area. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
You can go to an area, you can put in an address, and you can pull up comps. You can do some things that you can do back home that just a year or two ago you couldn't do here. Really couldn't do it.
They just launched the latest version. I have to see it.
Oh, they did. They just
Yeah,
updated. Okay.
I've been using it more and more regularly. It's getting better and better.
Yeah.
All right. Dream catching Bebo says, "Hi, I would like to move my family to Puerto Rico. I have a handyman landscaping business here in Western New York. What are a few steps to get my business registered, PRLC, and so on?"
Give me a call. I'll refer you someone that does everything for you.
Yeah. Tell people how to reach you.
You can give me a call, 787-948-8051, or you can go to my website and download my contact information, which is riverachris.com.
Yeah.
And you'll find my website and my contact information, and you can download everything from there.
But like New York, setting up, tell them the number again.
I'm sorry, 787-948-8051.
And like New York, setting up an LLC, setting up a business here on the island, it's really not difficult. So don't get overwhelmed by that. This is something that shouldn't cost you a ton of money. Shouldn't be very painful. It's probably slightly harder than it is in the States, but it's not significant.
If you come here to work hard, you're gonna make a lot of money. I mean, especially handymans, and there's a huge need for it.
Yeah,
a lot of work.
I encourage anybody who's handy, anybody who's in any of the trades. The island has a massive need, and you will have a booming business if you bring it.
Jose Mendez asked if you ever done deals with someone named Warren.
I have done deals with someone named Warren.
I think we're caught up right now, but
Jose, if you want to ask a follow-up question, we've done a couple deals with a young man named Warren here. So I assume that's who he's talking about.
Yeah. They done deals together. I doubt there's many people named Warren. Just want to know his experience on the deal.
What?
Your experience with him?
Him if any specific deal.
Yeah. Do a follow-up.
And we should say that not all the deals are going to be good. You know, we're going to, like everything in business, experience will help us to help them to make the right decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you might find a surprise that is not that nice or that good, and that you have to deal with it. So
yeah,
it is important for people to understand that success comes with failures.
And because of them, right? Learning from them. And my first venture into real estate was really not, I don't think it's hard to paint it in a successful picture. However, I look back on it and think that it was probably, it's definitely one of the most valuable, probably the most valuable deal I've ever done. Was the first one that I did, and it wasn't successful. It was very hard. It took years to complete. It eventually made money, but for a long time it was just complete pain and difficulties. Yeah. And talk about a partnership that didn't really go well. I bought this house after having quit a job in a bad neighborhood. My wife said, "Don't do it." And to your point, I had some sound advice from someone who I should have listened to, and I thought I can do this anyways. And so I formed a partnership with my best friend and his father-in-law. And they were both handy people and I was not. None of us had any money, right? So we pooled our money together. It was like $3,000 a piece. So we ended up with $9,000 that we're going to renovate this house. And the way that we were able to do it is we got a hard money loan to buy the house, and we're going to do 100% of the work.
Oh,
This is what we're going to save the money on, right? So I'm basically like the laborer holding the bucket, you know, cutting the grass. I'm awful. And the one thing I learned pretty quickly is that I'll never do that again. I never did. I did it on this house, never again. But the partnership, you know, we go into it thinking we're gonna do all the work, fix the house up, sell it, make a profit, and then do the next. And that's not at all the way that it went. We get into it, and my friend and his father-in-law are just crashing the whole time, and I don't have a clue as to what I'm doing. And so it ended up falling apart, and I ended up doing the next deal with my friend. We did a couple of more deals, but we left the father-in-law. And I just kept going, and I used it to learn. I learned, one, I'm not a handyman. So let's not do deals where I have to be the handyman.
Right.
So the next deal, I hired my friend who was handy to do all the work. He got to make some money, and I actually made money on the second house. And so that partnership started to work because we figured out here was the role. I was able to put things together. I was able to find the money. I was able to find the deal. My friend John was able to actually go in and fix things. And so we learned a lot, and I learned about insurance, how to get insurance on a property. I learned about title. I learned about getting people loans. And on the second one, I can remember I had a buyer who was going to qualify for an FHA loan. And back in the day, this is 25, 26 years ago, I could do a second mortgage. So we did what was like an 80-10-10 loan. She had to put 10% down, and I could give her a 10% second mortgage, and we could get 80% from the bank, but she didn't have any money. So I took cash, I put it in her bank account so that I could get her to qualify for the loan. I'm not saying that this is a good idea
or is legal.
I'm not saying that I should have done this, but I'm telling you what I did, right? I didn't know. I didn't have any money. I didn't think I had anything to lose. And I think I put $1,500 into her bank account so that she could then pull the bank statement and show that she had $1,500 so that she could then qualify for the loan. And we did that. We pulled the thing out. She gave me my money back right away. And we set up that sale. So she basically came to the table with zero money. I paid for everything, even put money into her bank account so that she'd qualify for the loan.
What a story.
Yeah. And so, 27 years old, I had nothing to lose. I would not, again, I do not recommend that anybody do that. And I wouldn't do it now.
But it's a great example of I'll do whatever it needs to be.
I was going to do, and at the time, I had to do whatever I could do because that was how I was going to feed my family, right? And I had quit my job. It was a decent paying job, but I was miserable. So I was way happier where I used to think as a 27-year-old that I would put my head under the wheel of the bus and then try to stop the bus from crushing me. And that was how I was learning how to be a businessman. And I did some things that were bad decisions. We made bad decisions. We had problems, and we got up, we dusted ourselves off. And, I don't know, guys, I could go on forever. I can remember I had a partnership. CPR Properties is a company that I still have today. And that was Colin, Pete, and Robbie. That was the name of and CPR, we had a little green cross on our signs, and we would renovate properties from terrible distress into something that was nice where people could live in them. And I remember at 29, 30 years old, having been in business for a couple of years, having $1 million net worth. And then within a few months, one of the CPR steals our office. We had expanded to multiple cities, and life was so good, and we're just killing it. And then one day I wake up and my partner's calling me and saying, "Hey, our other partner took the office. It's gone. Everything's gone. The bank account's empty." And it's like, oh, so
Wow.
yeah, just craziness, right? But I didn't let that stop me either. I'd already figured out at that point that I was good at it, and so we
Keep going.
and you know what's funny is that the guy who took the office, he was the linchpin. He kept us together. Without him, this other partner and I, we didn't like each other all that much.
Wow.
So this guy ends up taking the office, and it falls apart. I lose my net worth. So that was the first time I thought that I'd lost a fortune. I don't think it was ever real, right? That this was just paper money. I never had any money, but
Right.
anyway. So any other questions we got out there, guys? And if not, we'll go as long as you guys want to keep asking us questions. We'll try and answer questions. And obviously I will talk and just say stuff that doesn't matter.
If you would buy a beach house in Dorado.
A beach house in Dorado.
At the right price.
At the right price, I will buy just about anything, anywhere, not just on the island of Puerto Rico, but yeah. I mean,
the answer is yes.
The short answer is yes. Would we buy a beach house in Dorado? I've looked at in Dorado Beach East.
I wonder if he's for Airbnb, what he's thinking. Maybe if he could tell us what.
Yeah, give us some details. Are you asking, is there an opportunity that you have that you're looking at? Are you asking about a price point that it should be? It's a pretty high price point, by the way.
Yep, especially Dorado.
I was going to say, I looked at a $9 million teardown in Dorado Beach East. Where we showed up to look at it thinking, it's $9 million. It has to be savable, right? And the house was actually perfectly savable and fine, but it had multiple levels, and it was very clearly needed to be torn down so that you could build a $40 million house like the neighbors all had.
And now with the new law, you have to make sure that the property it complies with a new distance. And if you're going to buy it and you're going to need to renew that property, you're not going to be able to expand it because they're not going to give you the permits. So
that's super valuable information, because there's a lot that goes into anything that's beachfront on the island of Puerto Rico.
So you need to find out if you have the house, what is the intention, what you're planning to do, and if you're going to do some construction, you need to do the due diligence before you buy the house, because you might not be able to do what you're planning to.
Yeah, and if the house has been damaged by the storm, or if the waves have come in, and if you follow our channel, I put out a bunch of content recently where I go exploring these houses that are being lost to Mother Nature, and they really can't be rebuilt, right? Like they're inside of the maritime zone, and in Puerto Rico, the beaches are owned by the public. The people own the beaches. So once something like this happens, and we have a property in Rincon that years ago had a baseball field between us and the ocean. And now the ocean is 30 yards from our building. And 25 or 30 years from now, the ocean's going to be at our building if we're lucky and we still have a building. I mean, eventually Mother Nature's going to come. And when it comes, we won't be able to rebuild, even though we own the land now.
Dream Catching Bevel is asking, are there any tax benefits for opening a new business in PR?
Wow. There can be lots and lots of goodies that
there's
Puerto Rico offers.
72 laws in the Act 60. 72? Somewhere around that.
I know that the Hospitality Act was Act 74 before it became Act 60. So
maybe it's more.
It could be more.
My question would be if you can transfer your business now and establish it here.
Yes, you could.
Transfer your business and establish.
Move it to Puerto Rico.
Business is you move your business from New York to PR.
Yeah,
oh, I think people do that
all the time.
Yeah.
And you pay
a 4%
for your business and 0 in your personal income?
And so this is an excellent question. This is one of the reasons that people would move to Puerto Rico, is because you can save a lot of money on taxes, especially if you're moving from New York or California, where the states are just oppressive with the taxes. They're not friendly to small businesses. Puerto Rico is friendly and inviting, wants you to bring your business here, and there are incentives upon incentives.
All kinds
And if you look into it, depending on what type of business you've got, you might very well find a business. But you can bring a business from the States and run it here as export business back in the States.
You can run the
and pay
business from here.
4%. You can run the business from here. Now, all of this stuff, or much of this stuff, is predicated on you actually living here, being most closely tied to
Yes.
Puerto Rico, and following the rules. It's not automatic. So anything that's inside of Act 60, there are rules, there are
Yep.
procedures, there are things that you have to do. It's not automatic, and it does not happen just automatically and easily.
And if you don't
jump through the
comply-
hoops,
If you don't comply, you have debt
and if you don't comply,
with the US.
that's a problem.
So
Here's a fun question from Angel Martinez.
Angel Martinez.
Hi guys, I'm from Philly. So is Puerto Rico sinking 25 years from now?
I think so.
Puerto Rico's sinking today. Sometimes it rains so much, it certainly seems like the island's sinking.
I think that we have a clear vision of what tourism should be,
Mm-hmm.
and we are betting on it. I understand that the goal is to have of the GDP 15% from tourism. Today it's like 7.
Yes, that's right.
So tourism still is the biggest opportunity in Puerto Rico. It is also agriculture. It is there's a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I think there's a nonprofit that I don't remember the name now, but Alberto Baco is the founder. It's called Puerto Rico Modern Puerto Rico, Partnership for Modern Puerto Rico.
Okay.
It's how it's called. And the purpose of the partnership is to find key people who are interested in helping Puerto Rico, with influence, with investments and all that, especially to recover Santurce's area, all these opportunities of places that are right in the middle of San Juan. There's so much still to do. I mean, it has improved a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but we still have plenty of opportunities.
It's more opportunity than we could tackle in several lifetimes, right? That's why one of the reasons why I think Puerto Rico is so collaborative is because there's so much that needs to be tackled,
And another
and
thing
you
that
just can't do it by yourself.
yeah, we're trying to get Puerto Ricans to move back to Puerto Rico. We need more Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico. There's a big project called Somos, which is a project that GFR Media has. They just had their first big event here with music and all that. We want the diaspora to come back. We need more Puerto Ricans to come back to Puerto Rico.
Right.
And it is that is also looking at 25 years from today. We want to be back. We might not be 4 million people again, but at least 3.6 you should be.
Well, I don't know if I heard the question correctly, or if I think he was asking about kind of probably global warming type stuff. Is that true? Well, I think because we had the question about the coastal stuff, the tides have come in, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
we have a big problem on the north coast of Puerto Rico where there are properties that are built right up to it, and the beach isn't as big as it used to be, and that's probably not going to change soon. I think I think Puerto Rico is going to be here 25 or 30 years from now. It's not sinking for real, but things change. Mother Nature changes. And I love your point about inviting local Puerto Ricans that left for opportunity into the States over the last 20 years to come back. And I think that there is, for the first time in a long time, the young people see opportunity here that they didn't see even a few years ago. I would say that when I first arrived to the island, there was still a mass exodus. And so, like, graduate high school, go to the States because the opportunity is not here.
Yeah.
And I think that has shifted. And I think that that change, not only are people staying more and staying home, but people who left are coming back. And I know lots of them. I have Adon is a perfect example of that. He went to Florida for school, and he's back, and he's running a business, and he's investing on the island. So that certainly is it's a positive thing for the island of Puerto Rico, and I hope that it continues. I believe that it will.
And some things are going to work in the next.
Start asking like final question.
Okay. In the next 25 years, some things are going to work and some things are not.
Sure.
And we need to understand that nothing is going to be perfect. Nothing is perfect today. There's a bunch of positive things that are happening in Puerto Rico, and there's another bunch that we need to improve.
Yeah.
It is the reality. Now, as I said before, I focus in what I want to see more.
You're a very positive, forward-thinking person, and we share
Very.
that. I'm constantly thinking about what's next, and that's how I've sort of lived my life. And I've said this before, and I think you probably resonate with this. For me, there's no such thing as the good old days. The good old days, I had a wonderful time growing up, great parents. You know, we were poor and I didn't know it. And then I went to school, and that was great. And then I excelled in sports and went to high school, and then I went to college. And all of these times during my life, it was good, but it's never the good old days. And I really believe for the island of Puerto Rico, for myself, for you, for people who are going to be entrepreneurial, your best days are ahead of you. Our best days are ahead of us for sure.
If you want to.
Well, this is my mindset. For
Right.
me, this is my mindset.
Mine too.
And I actually feel sorry for my friends. And I have many friends that will point to a time in life and say, remember the good old days. And I just think, man, that I had fun. It was good. But the good old days, I'm going to have grandkids here soon. And when I do that, that's what's better than that, right? I had
people scared about AI.
Oh,
I'm excited.
AI is about to improve the world.
I'm
and
excited
then
about
it may kill us all eventually, but
but I have seen so many incredible stuff from AI to help people.
yes.
I mean, from people back to walk. I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff that is incredible.
It is incredible.
Of course, like everything in life, it all depends of who is working with it.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the intention of the people behind it.
Mm.
You know, you can do great things with the AI or a lot of bad things with AI.
And unfortunately, there's always bad actors. So
Yes.
we want to encourage the good actors. We want to get behind the good projects. And I don't know what you do about the bad actors, but you got to hold people accountable.
Well, I need for the bad actors, you need to make the good ones stronger.
Yes.
And better.
Yeah. I really pray that Elon Musk is the positive influence on the world that he seems to be, in my opinion. And I think there's a bunch of people that would disagree with that, and they'd say, "Oh, he's terrible." Yeah. So, and I'm not trying to get political, but certainly he's trying to think about things that are going to change the world, right? And so I mean, really don't want him to be a bad person.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either. And so, hey guys, I want to encourage you to put some questions in the chat. We're going to wrap it up here in the next 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes. We've been going 5 minutes. We've been going for a little while, and I don't want to bore you guys, but if you have some final questions, throw them in the chat and we'll try to answer them. We're going to do more of this YouTube live. So this is, for me, a lot of fun. This is a really fun way to put content out there and to have these kind of conversations. So I think we'll start to get in the habit of doing this Monday Night Live. Whether we can do it every single week or not, I don't know yet, but expect that we will do it again next week. And then we'll just go from here. And yeah, and guys, I highly encourage you to at least fill out the form and ask us for the information about the mastermind group, the Apex Mastermind. Again, it may not be for everybody, and I get that, but we want to form a group.
We don't accept everybody in our mastermind.
You have to fit in the group, and we want to form a group of people that can come together and do more together than we can do apart. So if that sounds good to you, fill out the form. Let's have a conversation about it. And again, any new dream catchers in. Awesome.
That's welcome.
I think that, you know, Puerto Rico needs some some farming so that we don't have to import food. There is no reason that we can't be self-sufficient on this island.
Definitely.
Yeah, people will get mad at me for saying we, but there's no reason that farming isn't a bigger portion of the economy here, and that we're not providing food and maybe even exporting. I mean, the land is fertile.
We're exporting pineapples.
We're exporting pineapples.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And it's
Cacao.
it's mango season right now, and they just fall on the ground in Rincon. Oh my gosh, they're like heaven.
BK Breezy is in the chat.
Breeze. All right.
And he's looking forward to watching this, catching you late. Thank you for the content. We'll do an agriculture ecotourism deal this year.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And
I know Breeze is BK Breeze is a real part of the channel. He's constantly commenting on a lot of stuff we do. So I've been able to kind of get to know him in the chat, and I can't wait for you to show up on the island. And I look forward to the day we can partner together. So that's really cool. All right, guys, I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching it, and fill out that form, become part of the mastermind. Look for us to do the Monday Night Live again next week. And in between that, we'll put out a whole bunch of content like we always do. And guys, I hope you're enjoying this channel. I have a lot of fun doing it. And we really do expand our business through partnerships. This is why we do this YouTube channel. It's our goal. It's our desire to show you guys that there is a way for you to become an entrepreneur and to become a real estate investor. And the easiest and best way that I've come up with that I can be effective at that is to talk about what we do and why we do it and how we do it. And so if you like that kind of content, subscribe to our channel. We meet with great people like Chris, and we just talk about all things entrepreneurism, getting out of the rat race, and really we're value add real estate investors. So we may not have a system that everyone should follow, but I'll tell you why we do things, and I'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Chris, you want to tell them how to get a hold of you one more time? And
of course, going to find me at my phone number, 787-948-8051. 787-948-8051. You can send me a text message. You can call me. You can also send me you can find my contact information at riverachris.com. riverachris.com.
And Chris is going to be part of our team. So as we do this mastermind, we'll have a group. We want to provide value, guys. And so it can't just be one guy talking into the microphone. Chris has got some experience with masterminds, and we've got a couple of other key partners that we're going to bring alongside. So if you're a part of the mastermind, we're going to share phone numbers.
Yes.
You're going to have access. It's not just about meeting a couple times a month or even doing a live event.
Community.
It's creating a community. And so I look forward to it, guys. I hope you're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
God bless everybody.
God bless.
Have a good one.